Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Game AI series in Unity C#. In this series, we're going to make some advanced NPCs, the kind that you find in your favorite games. But first, we need our NPCs to be able to see and hear the world around them. Let's start with vision. We need our NPCs to have a cone of vision that they'll use to detect other NPCs. Not only that, we need them to maintain a detection list, which is a record of all the NPCs that they have encountered. For example, let's say our NPC has seen Bob. He was alive. The last time he was seen was 5 minutes ago in the break room, and he was not a hostile. Let's say we have another entry for Agent 47. The last time he was seen is 2 minutes ago. He was alive in the changing room, and he was definitely a hostile. Our behaviors will use this detection list to do all sorts of things. I want you to pay attention to a very important factor when it comes to our detection list. The information here is not necessarily up to date. In fact, we need it to be out of date sometimes because otherwise the NPC will be omniscient. So for example, when we last saw Bob 5 minutes ago, he was alive, but right now he could not be. The detection entry for Bob will only be updated when we see him again. This is the NPCSensor component. It has a range, which is the maximum distance at which the NPC can see, an FOV, or field of view, which goes from -1 to 1. If set at -1, the NPC can see at 360 degrees, so it can see in all directions, and values above 0 can make the NPC's field of view more narrow. Ideally, you want to set it at a value around 0.5 to make the cone of view more narrow like this. Then we have the scan rate. The sensor doesn't update itself every frame. If you have a lot of characters with NPCSensor components, updating them all every frame is not ideal for performance. So this is a very basic optimization trick. Then we have scan mask. Here we define the masks that the NPC can see. It's important to include not only the layer masks of the characters, but also the layer masks of the walls. So if a character is behind a wall, we want it to be out of sight of the NPC sensor. Then we have a detection list, which is a list of detection entries. Here we could simply have a list of NPCs. However, we need more informations. This list of informations includes the NPC reference, of course. Then we have the alive status, the visibility status, the distance, the last known position, the last seen time, and if the NPC is hostile or not. And finally, we have properties to edit the gizmos. So we can enable or disable gizmos. We can set the default color of the gizmos. This is the exact scene that we've been using so far. Here I have my player character and a guard. The guard has no AI controller scripts except an NPC sensor. We're going to right-click on this, Properties, to keep this inspector visible at all times, even when we click away. Let's run the game now. We're going to cross the field of vision of the NPC guard. As you can see, the guard now has a record of the player's character. The red sphere on the ground is my last known position. If I hide behind a pillar, that position is no longer updated. Now I'm no longer visible to the guard, and as you can see, the informations in the detection list are not updated anymore. So I'm going to be visible again for the guard. Now he is updating my last seen time, my distance, my last known position, and all the other informations. When the player is no longer visible, we display the last known position with the yellow sphere. There's something that I forgot to mention before. If a detection entry gets too old, then the NPC sensor will remove it from the list. In other words, if another NPC has not been seen for a long time, then that entry will be deleted, like you've just seen here. Right now, I've set the expiration time to 2 minutes, but depending on the requirements of your game, you can set this time to a longer or shorter value. Let's dive into the code. This is the detection entry class. We make it serializable to be able to see it in the inspector. You could make the argument that we could use a struct here instead of a class to avoid some garbage collection in the engine. I personally think this is a marginal issue, and overall I prefer using classes. First, we define a reference to the NPC. Then we have the alive status. We already have an alive boolean in NPC. However, we keep a separate one here because we need the information in the detection entry to only be updated when the other NPCs are visible, like we explained before. Then we have a boolean for visibility, the distance to the last known position, the last known position, and the last seen time. You should note that this is a time, not a duration. We're going to set this value to time.time, which is the number of seconds since the game has been running. So in order to know how old this entry is, all we have to do is time.time minus this value. Then we have a hostile boolean, and I'm implementing the iClonable interface in case we want to clone the entry at some point, and we'll definitely do it when we dive into some NPC behaviors later. Then we define a detection list class. We also make it serializable to be able to see it in the inspector. We define a private list of detection entries. We want to access this list from other scripts, but we don't want to modify it. We only want to read it. So we do it like this. We return an iReadOnly list of type detection entry, and we make it return list.asReadOnly. Then we define some properties like count, which returns the number of items in the list. And we define more counts. For example, the visible hostiles count. We'll simply go through the list. For each entry which is hostile and visible, we increase the count and we return it. We have an out-of-sight hostiles count, which goes through the list. If an entry is both hostile and not visible, we increase the count, then return it at the end. Then we have visible NPC count, which returns the number of visible NPCs. Then we define an isVisible method that returns a boolean. It will check if the list contains the NPC, get the entry, and then return the visible boolean of the entry. We'll implement the contains method down below. Then we define getEntry@index, which returns an entry at an index in the list. Then we define getEntry using an NPC. So we loop through the list. If NPC equals entry.npc, we return that entry, otherwise we return null. Then we define a method to sort the list by distance using list.sort, and as a parameter we give it a lambda expression to control how two elements in the list should be sorted. Then we define a clear method that simply clears the list, and here we define some methods to add elements, remove elements from the list. So we have add entry, that simply adds an entry to the list. Removing an entry, if entry is null, we print an error. Then we remove the entry from the list. Then we define a remove method, but with NPC this time as a parameter. Then here we define the contains method. So this method down here will take an NPC and will output an entry and will return a boolean. If we find an entry with that NPC, we'll set the output entry, then return true. If we go through the whole list and don't find anything, then we'll set the output entry to null and return false. And here in this simplified version of the method, we'll use this syntax to ignore the second parameter. Actually, I didn't know you could do this in C#. This is pretty cool. So by adding out and underscore, you can tell the compiler to ignore the output parameter. Then we define two methods for removing dead entries and removing old entries. We need to loop through the list backwards. So we start from list.count -1 and we go backward. So if an entry is not alive, then we remove it. So here we don't check if entry.npc is null. If that was the case, then there's something wrong with the code. We'd rather get an error on the console than to just check if NPC is null, because this will hide the problem actually. Then we have remove old entries. We give it max time as parameter. So here for each entry, we compute the time since visible, which is equal to time.time minus entry.lastSeenTime. If time since visible is greater than max time, then we remove the item from the list. Let's define the star of the show today really, which is the NPC sensor. So the NPC sensor will inherit from NPC component. Let's define the values that we saw in the inspector earlier. the range, the FOV, the scan rate, the scan mask, and the detection list. For the FOV, we use the range attribute so we can get a nice slider on the inspector. And for the scan mask, we set it by default to physics.default raycast layers. Then we define some convenient methods. Sometimes when you have objects inside of other objects, you don't want to have to type .detectionList, .visible hostiles count. So here this is a shortcut for visible hostiles count and out of sight hostiles count. Then let's define some Unity methods. Starting with onDraw gizmos. Here we have a boolean to enable or disable gizmos and two colors for the default gizmos and the detected gizmos. In the onDraw gizmos method, we do nothing if this value is false. Then we draw the FOV arc. We'll see this shortly. And here we draw a line to each detected NPCs. So we go through the list. If an entry is visible, we set the gizmo's color to detected gizmo color. Then we draw a line from NPC.sensor position to entry.lastKnownPosition. And what is sensor position? Sensor position is simply the position of the NPC, which is at their feet, plus 1.5 meters up. Ideally, the sensor position should be at the eyes of the character, but for now, let's keep it this way. Then we draw a wire sphere at the other NPC's sensor position. Then we draw a sphere at the last known position, and we draw a line from the last known position to the other NPC's sensor position. In the draw FOV arc method, we compute half of the FOV angle using mathf.acos with the FOV value multiplied by rad 2 degrees. Then we compute the left angle and the right angle, and we add a vertical offset so the arc is not touching the ground. Here we define a number of segments. We're going to be drawing a semicircle made of lines. So we define the number of segments. We define the angle step, which is equal to angle right minus angle left divided by segments. Then we compute a position where to start drawing, which will be at the position of the NPC, plus the forward vector multiplied by a rotation by angle left on the y-axis multiplied by range plus the vertical offset. We're going to draw the two lines of the FOV here and here. The first line will start from the position of the NPC plus the vertical offset and will end at the previous point. Same for the second line. However, the previous point will change in the loop. In the for loop, we start from 1 up to the number of segments. Then we compute the current angle, which is angle left plus angle step times I. The current point is transform that position plus a rotation by current angle multiplied by transform forward multiplied by range. Then we add our vertical offset. Then we draw a line from previous point to current point. Then we set previous point to current point. In the onDisable method, we clear the detection list. In the Unity editor, there is this strange behavior. If you have a serialized attribute, sometimes when you go out of play mode, the detection list will still contain elements from play mode. So here we clear it. Then we're going to use the start method as a coroutine. So instead of void, we type IEnumerator as the return value, and that allows us to use it as a coroutine. So in the start coroutine, we're going to clear the list, then wait for a random time between 0 and scan rate. If you have a lot of NPCs in the scene, this allows the NPCs to scan at different times, which is good for performance. Here we define scan time, which is equal to new wait for seconds with our scan rate as parameter. And here we define a loop. If the behavior is disabled, we yield return scan time. And here we call a scan method, then an update detected entries method. Then we sort the detection list. Then we wait by the scan time amount. Let's define the scan method. We start by using physics.overlapSphere. We start from the NPC sensor position with a range and the scan mask, and we ignore triggers. Then we're going to loop through the returned colliders. We're going to get the NPC component from the parent of the collider. Then we define a boolean called valid, which will be true if other NPC is not null, and if other NPC is different than our own NPC component, and if other NPC is alive. So if valid and the detection list does not contain the other NPC, and the other NPC is within FOV, and we can raycast to the other NPC, then what we do is create a new entry with the information on the NPC. So we have NPC visible equals true, true. Last known position is the position of the NPC. Last seen time to time.time. Distance to the distance between the NPC's position and our own position. Then we set alive to true and hostile to a value defined by a method called isHostile. Then we add this new entry to our detection list. Down below, we're going to define all of these methods. Let's start with the isVisible method. This is a simple shortcut for detectionList.isVisible. Then let's define an isHostile method that takes an NPC as parameters and returns true if that NPC is a hostile. So how to check if an NPC is hostile or not? For this, I added a team parameter to NPC. So if you go to the NPC script, here I have an enum called eTeam, where we have blue team and red team. And down here, I've defined a team attribute, which is set to blue team by default. This is a very simple way of determining if an NPC is a hostile. Of course, there is a lot of complexity that we can add here, and we'll do it step by step. But for now, just for the sake of simplicity, we'll simply check if our team is different than the other NPC's team. Then we define an isWithinFOV method. In order to define the FOV to another point, we define the direction to the target by target position minus NPC position. Then we normalize this vector. Then we compute the dot product between our forward vector and this direction. If this value is superior to FOV, it means the target is within our FOV. Then we define a canRaycast method. So in this method, we'll perform a raycast between our position and more specifically our sensor position and the NPC's sensor position as well. So we define a ray that starts from NPC.sensor position, and the direction will be defined by the target sensor position minus our sensor position. Then we use raycast all. That's because we can go through many objects. For example, if an NPC is looking through glass or if it's looking through one of its own colliders, we don't want those to block the view. So as parameters, we give it ray, range, scan rate, and we ignore triggers. Then we sort the hits by distance using array sort. For the hits array, we need it to start from the shortest distance. Then in a for loop, we go through the hits. We get the NPC component. If we hit one of our own colliders, we ignore that. If hit NPC is null or hit NPC is different from the target, then it means we hit a wall or another NPC and we return false. Then if hit NPC is equal to our target, we return true. Then at the end of the loop, we return false by default. Finally, let's define the update detected entries. So first we call the remove dead entries and remove old entries on our detection list. Then in a for loop, remember that if we were to remove some elements from a list while going through it, we need to start from the end and loop backwards. Here we get the entry using detectionList.getEntry@index. Then we compute the distance between NPC position and entry last known position. We update the distance value here. If distance is superior to range plus a small value, or if the entry's NPC is not within FOV, then automatically this NPC will be considered as out of sight. We're going to set its visible value to false. Otherwise, we set the visible value to the return value of our canRaycast method. And down here, if entry is visible, we're going to update it. So we're going to update the alive status to the actual NPC's alive status. We're going to update the hostile attribute to isHostileEntry.npc. Then we're going to set the last known position and the last seen time. Now our NPCs can see around them. This is the first building block to making more complex NPC behaviors. That's exactly what we're going to do in the next videos. So stick around. Until then, see you later.